Want a soar? Get a mentor. Hey, it's Nina Carmichael, and we made these videos is probably because you're the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you need a push by surround yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, my husband Evan Carmichael, the process to find your purpose and passion. Enjoy! Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Know your why and how.
So let's start with this. Purpose is not passion. They're related, but they're not the same thing. Passion is also not that hard to figure out. Neither is purpose. People just have not been given the right tools. So let's simplify it for you today. And if you're someone who's struggling to figure out what your purpose and your passion are, this video is going to be insanely helpful for you. I have a who, why, how process. Who is your most important core value? We're not going to dive into that in this video, but the next two are your why and your how. Your why is your purpose and your how is your passion. So let's start with purpose. Your purpose is your why. Your purpose comes from your pain. Your purpose is whatever the thing you struggled with the most in life. Think back to the most painful moment in your life. What was it? What was happening? What was around you? What was that moment? For positive, entrepreneur, optimistic people, this actually might be a challenge. For me, it was a challenge because I don't want to think about the bad past. I don't want to think about what happened to me. I'm focused on what I'm doing now and going forward, not rearview mirror stuff. What happened back then doesn't matter, except it does. Because the thing that will fill you up the most is helping people who are currently going through the thing that you struggled with the most. So whatever was the most painful moment in your life, from when you're born until right now, that you can remember, not physical pain, psychological pain, mental pain, the thing that made you feel terrible. What was that thing? Your purpose is to help other people who are feeling that right now. And so imagine who you are now and imagine who you used to be, whether that's a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Go back to whoever that person was. Let's just say it's 5 years ago. Great. The person you are now can help the person who you were 5 years ago. You may not have all the answers. You're still on your path. You don't know everything, but you've grown. You've come out of the hole. You're better than you were 5 years ago. Talk to the person you were 5 years ago. Helping that person is your purpose. You've climbed up the staircase, right? You've grown. There's still a lot more stairs to grow. You don't want the staircase to end. That staircase is your growth, is your professional and personal development for life. You want to keep climbing. And every time you take a step, what you want to do is reach down and help somebody else up. But you can only help people to the extent that you've grown. If you've taken 8 steps on the staircase, that's all you can help people up to get to step number 8. If you get to 20, you can help people more. So we want to keep growing, keep climbing those stairs, and then keep reaching back and pulling people up and giving them a hand. That's your purpose for life. You'll like serving people and helping people, and it's tied to your core value, your who, your one word. We're not talking about it much in this video, but you'll just like helping people because service is hardwired into our brain. Helping people is hardwired to your brain. It has a similar impact on your brain as food and sex. It's hardwired. You'll like it. You want to help people. You want to serve. But who you serve will be different. It'll have a different impact. I love helping people in general, but if you're an entrepreneur, that's something extra special. There's so many great causes in the world. There's so many great causes. Why this instead of this? Because you have an emotional connection to it, an emotional attachment to it. Why? Because you went through it. Because you suffered through it, and you want to make sure that nobody else has to suffer as much as you suffered. Your purpose comes from your pain, period. It'll fill you up for life. Helping entrepreneurs will fill me up for the rest of my life. It will never get old. When I'm tired, when I have no energy, when I'm depleted, I will still meet with entrepreneurs because it fills me up. Your purpose comes from your pain. You have to find it. Now let's talk about passion. So your passion is your how. Your passion is the things that you're doing, how you're gonna actually execute against your why, execute against your purpose. What are you doing? It's great that you believe in entrepreneurs, amazing, but what are you going to do? How are you gonna go about doing it? So for me, it's making videos. For me, it's doing speaking gigs. For me, it's writing books. For me, it's helping people one-on-one. For me, it's doing events, right? That's my how. But that will evolve, that will change. right? I started doing this helping entrepreneur thing when I was 22 years old. And that started just by doing speaking. And then it became my website. And I had 100,000 plus pages of content. And then I shut the thing down overnight and I focused on YouTube. And it's been a 10-year plus journey on YouTube. And maybe in 10 years that's gone and I'm doing something totally different. I don't know, the how will change a lot. What you get passionate about, or to Mel's point about energy, what you get energy about will change with time. But it has to be connected to your purpose. Just because it gives you energy, it's not going to fill you up. It's got to be connected to a deeper source, which is your purpose. And so your purpose stays locked forever. Your why is locked forever. Your who, your one word, your core value is locked forever. How you go about executing it will change a lot over the course of your life. Right now it's making YouTube videos. In 5 years it'll be something else. In 5 years it'll be something else. In 5 years it'll be something else. As you grow and change as a human, as technology and market changes as well, you need to adapt, you need to adjust, you need to change, which is great because you don't want to just do the same thing over and 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 over forever. And so it makes sense that purpose and passion are going to be the top questions that people ask. Because you want to be doing something more. You know that you're capable of doing something more than what you're doing right now. And most people look around the world, look at your friends, look at your community, look at the people you grew up with, look at them and see, are these people happy? Are these people living a purposeful life? No. What? No. Of course not. But they haven't been given the tools. It's not that difficult a problem to figure out. Just go through the who, why, how process, especially the last two for this video, right? The why and the how. Your purpose and your passion, your most painful moment of all time, and how you got out of it. And when you can flip that to then serving other people, that will fill you up for life.
Rule number 2, be your biggest critic and fan.
You need to be your biggest critic as well as your biggest fan. People are usually their biggest critics. You point out all the flaws. You tell yourself all the reasons why you suck. I actually think that's a good thing. Being your biggest critic forces you to get better. But it's only healthy if it's paired with you also being your biggest fan. You think that you suck, but you also feel like you're amazing, like you're a gift to the world, like you're the best thing ever. You suck and you're amazing. You're the worst and you're the best, both. I think that's the healthy balance. You have to be your biggest critic as well as your biggest fan, both at the same time. So earlier in my career, I had a problem with Kanye West. It's funny because he was the first top 10 that I did on my channel. He's on my wall way back here behind me. I just thought that he was too egotistical, too bombastic, too talking about himself. My upbringing was very humble and just not bragging and not being bodacious. And Kanye kind of represented all the opposite of that. And you know, he has this picture of himself when you walk into his home. He has this big picture of himself. And somebody said, isn't that really egotistical that when you walk into your own home, you got this giant picture of you? And his response was something like, well, you gotta love yourself first. If you don't love yourself, you don't cheer for yourself, you don't hang the picture of yourself, who else is gonna do it? And over time and exposure, I picked up on it. Like, I like it more. I've become much more a fan of myself. Outwardly, it's a lot more critical. Outwardly, it's more, I suck, I need to get better, I need to improve. But not that I suck as a human, it's that I don't have the skills. I think for you to be your biggest critic, the healthiest way to do it is for you to point out the skills that you need to work on. You don't suck as a human. You suck at making videos. You suck at writing a book. You suck at salsa dancing. You suck at raising dogs. You know, you figure it out. It's just a skill set. It doesn't hit you close to home because it's a skill set that if you practice, you'll get better at. It's rooted, it needs to be rooted in I rock as a human. I don't suck as a human, I rock, I'm the best as a human, but I suck at almost every skill out there. And I think that's a healthy balance that you need to have. Now, I don't know if I wouldn't call Kanye balanced on that, but I take a piece of it. I take that piece, that self-love, that self-congratulations, and I like to use it. So recently I came back from Tony Robbins, an event he invited me out to in Dallas. And I had this vision while I was there of the Green Arrow. I don't know if you guys ever watch Arrow, but Arrow, the TV show, when they're in their home base, they all have these mannequins, and the mannequins then wear their outfits. And I've always said that I feel like Batman putting on my Believe hoodie, right? Like, this is my outfit. I'm a superhero going to work. I feel like that. I feel that way. I don't outwardly say that a lot, and maybe I should more, I feel, I guess, that it still sounds a little too egotistical, but I feel like a superhero putting on my outfit, ready to go take on Believe around the world, right? That's how I feel when I put on this stuff. So I said, wow, I want to have my own mannequin. I want to have a mannequin, and I want to put it in the Believe gear, and I'll have that as a reminder. And so I did it. Actually, let me get it. I'm gonna get it. Let me get it. It's really heavy. We're gonna bring it in. How's that? Okay. We'll hold it. Okay, there we go. That's it. Huh? So this actually scares me. It scares me because we had it out in the hallway, and then I wake up at night and like, there's someone in the hallway. So this is my arrow superhero space. Okay, I'm taking it out. Wah! Either I'm really out of shape or that's really heavy, or probably some combination of both. Anyway, I would never have done that. I would never have done that X number of years ago. Even to wear my own name on my back felt weird when I first did it. But then I thought, who am I not to? Like, why not? I'm proud of it. I feel like Batman putting this thing on, so that's how I celebrate myself. And so I think you need to have, whether you have your own, hoodies and mannequins and all that stuff, or you're high-fiving or praising, you need to have a way to make you feel great about you. You need to have a way on a regular basis that you feel great about yourself as a human and what you're doing. Even though you may not be getting results, even though you might not have the skill sets, even though you might be losing every day, still finding ways to praise yourself and make you feel like you are amazing. And if you're struggling with that, I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will help. So step number 1 is have what I call play bigger triggers. Play bigger triggers are things that you put in your environment to remind you to play a bigger game. So Marissa talked about the lemon. You have a lemon, you eat the lemon and you taste the lemon, and as she was talking about it, I taste the lemon. And then that woman had a lemon on her desk as a reminder to her, the visualization. So for me, I've got my mannequin here with the outfit. Even having your own branded outfits, right? Makes a difference. Having the Doritos there reminds me, it's a play bigger trigger that I'm stronger than the Doritos. These people behind me here, play bigger trigger that I want to be a visionary like Steve Jobs and a father like my father, and have a little more self-confidence and self-love and bravado like Kanye. Play bigger triggers. You might not want any of this stuff for you, but what is the thing that makes you play a bigger game, that makes you believe in yourself more, that makes you feel like you're amazing? Take some of the biggest highlights of your life where you felt so proud and amazing about yourself, and then put it up on the wall. Put it on your cell phone background, put it on your computer background as a reminder about what an amazing human being you are. Friend of the channel, Mark Jager, reminded me that when I broke my neck to keep the neck braces. I was gonna throw them away, but I keep them. They're not usually on camera, but they're down there. I keep them in my office. 60 days straight I wore these things with a 10-minute break every day. I'm amazing, right? I'm amazing. This is a reminder of how amazing I am. And so I want that for you. I want you to feel like you're amazing. I want you to pick some of those moments that made you feel so proud that you would celebrate, and then have some kind of visual in your office that's around you regularly as a constant play bigger trigger. So you remember that you too, you're amazing. Step number 2 is time it well. So I've talked about how you need to be your biggest fan and your biggest critic. Often you need to pick when you're your biggest fan and when you're your biggest critic. You need to pick when you're hard on yourself and when you need to be gentle on yourself. And so here's how I do it. When I'm feeling on top of the world, when I feel like there's a big win that just happens, like great, celebrate, but then I'm hard on myself. Then like, this is nothing, let's go, keep going, come on. We can do better than what we're doing right now. But if I'm feeling low, then I'll be gentle on myself, right? If I'm feeling low, then it'll be okay. I need this time. So when you're really at your bottom, you need to be your biggest fan. And when you're at the top, you need to be your biggest critic. And I think people are often the opposite. When you're at the bottom, you feel like you suck and everything's terrible. When you're at the top, you feel great and amazing about yourself. And you want to flip it. When you're at the top, you suck. And when you're at the bottom, you're the best. I do this with my team too, with Alex. When Alex comes in, Alex helps me run Toronto Dance Salsa, largest salsa dancing school in Canada, maybe North America. And if he comes in and I will go watch his class, for example, and he feels like he had the best class of all time, it's like his favorite class. Like, great, yeah, I had some wins, but dude, you still suck. Like there's like 18 things you need to get better to improve. And if he comes in and he has a really bad class and he bombs and he feels really bad about himself, it's like, it's okay, dude, it's fine. Like, you're an amazing instructor. This is a one-off. You're gonna come back and crush it, right? Give them the opposite. Give yourself the opposite. Be your biggest fan and your biggest critic. But just make sure you time it well. And step number 3 to praise yourself is do the pillow test. The pillow test is every night before you hit your head on the pillow, right? You're gonna go sleep. Every night before your head hits the pillow, you have to do something that makes you proud of yourself. And that's something only you can judge. What makes you proud of you? Doesn't matter what I think of you. Doesn't matter what your friends, your family, even your husband or wife or your parents think of you. It doesn't matter. It's what you think of you. At the end of the day, it's what you think of you. And so are you proud of yourself? And this is a great question to ask right now because you've still got time left in the day. What are you gonna do for the rest of the day? Whether you have the whole day ahead of you or you've got 20 more minutes before you hit the bed, before the head hits the pillow, what are you gonna do today to make you feel proud of yourself and then celebrate it?
Rule number 3, do what you love.
Burnout is real, but I think most burnout happens because people are not doing the thing that they actually love doing. It's not just about being busy and keeping your mind occupied all day. You can be busy and hate your life and get burnt out. If I was an accountant, I would hate my life and burn out in a day because I don't like being an accountant. But doing this thing that I love, I put in way more effort, way more work, and I love it. It's been 10 plus years of still having my YouTube channel and I'm not burnt out. If anything, I'm pushing harder than ever before because I love it. And so I think it's not just about being busy, it's about being busy on the thing that is your mission for life. Now, compassion fatigue is a thing. Doing it so much that you burn out yourself is possible. But again, that is not why most people are burning out. Most people, I believe, are burning out because they're spending too much time, too much energy, too much effort doing things that they hate. And if you wake up and hate your life and hate the job you're about to go to, then there's no wonder why you feel like you're burning out. So I recently came back from going to Tony Robbins' event in Dallas. He invited me to sit in the front row and super blessed and grateful to have Tony's support. And I went there with Alex, friend of the channel, who helps me run Toronto Dance Salsa. And we were on a super crunch timeline because Alex was teaching classes the evening before we left and then the day of the last event. And we rushed down there. Alex was flying in just to get to the event. He's late on the first day. We're rushing to leave on the last day. And it's nonstop. If you've been to a Tony Robbins event, it's all day, all night. It's 8 in the morning to midnight and then up again the next day and doing the same thing. And it's wild and it's fun, it's amazing. And my favorite thing to do whenever I travel is actually meet Believe Nation, meet you guys. And so all through the event, I wear my Believe hoodie and I'm not wearing Grant stuff, I'm wearing Evan Carmichael stuff with the plane and the Believe on the back, and people are stopping me. And that's actually the best. It doesn't take away from my experience. Tony's often on stage at the top at the beginning of every event saying, hey, I have some friends of mine, you might know them, they might be celebrities, leave them alone, don't talk to them, let them have their own experience. And it always makes me sad when he says that, because for me, meeting you guys, meeting people who recognize me, and that's a group that I over-index because people who watch Tony videos, you know, they're probably gonna find my content. I like it more when people come and say hi. It adds to the experience for me. And then on the last day, before we rushed out to go to the airport, I set up a meetup, right? I had an hour open before having to get to the airport, so let's do a meetup. Let's do a local Dallas, Richardson, Texas meetup, right? And it could have spent the time doing something else or sleeping in or writing my book or doing anything else. But it's not burnout for me. Like, that fuels me. That gives me more energy. I love it. Hanging out with Believe Nation gives me more energy than it takes away. And I then took an Uber to get to the airport, and the guy who drove the Uber was actually in the meetup in Richardson. He's like, I gotta leave early because I gotta start my job. Okay, great. And then I book an Uber and there he is. A total fluke, but amazing. And so it's a lot of work. You know, I was all day, all night, not connecting with my team, not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. And then I still make time to be with people and make a 1 hour meetup because that hour was open. And it fuels me. But if it was something that I hated, just that half an hour, just 15 minutes, I'd start to feel like I'm burning out. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, this is terrible. And so I think it's really important that you're doing work that you love. That would be a burnout for other people, but not a burnout for you because you love it so much. So how do you find it? How do you find the work that you love? I got a 3-step process called Who, Why, How. I'm going to talk about it in depth in my next book, but let's do a super quick analysis here to help you guys who might be struggling. Step number 1 is who. So your who is your most important core value. What is your most important core value as a human being? Mine is believe. It's the one word most important core value for me. So when you figure out what it is that you stand for as a human, you can then look at your life and see where you're falling short. If you're unhappy with life, it's because you are living incongruently with your most important core value. So someone whose core value is freedom, as an example, you can look at your life. Like, are you allowed to be free? Are you free at work? Are you free in your relationships? Are you free, in these different areas? If not, then you're not going to be happy. That's why you're not happy, because your boss doesn't allow you to have freedom. Mine is believe. So believe has to be in everything that I touch. If there's a situation that's lacking believe, I'm not going to be happy with it. So that just gives you already an indication of who you are and starts to make sense of your life going backwards and allows you to plan it better going forward. So it's one of the most important exercises I think anybody can do. Figure out what your who is. Who, I, how. Step 2 is why. So why is your purpose? Your purpose comes from your pain. Your purpose comes from the deepest, darkest, most painful moment in your life. Whatever that was, your purpose is to help other people who are currently going through that thing. Whatever you struggled with, suffered with, endured, felt like you never want to wish that on your worst enemy, never want to go back and experience again that pain. That's what I'm talking about. You want to help other people who are currently going through that pain, because there's a lot of people who are currently going through that thing. Who you were X number of years ago, there's a lot of people who are currently like that right now. That's who you want to help for life. That'll never get old. That's your purpose for life. I want to help entrepreneurs for life. I believe in entrepreneurs for life because I struggled so much as an entrepreneur, and I want to make the path a little bit easier for everybody else. So that's your why. And your who and your why are constant. They never change. Your core values and your purpose are for life, and that's amazing. The last step is how. Who, why, how. How is your passion. How is how you got out of the pain that you're in. So you struggled with something. How did you get out of it? You may not be fully out of it. Maybe you're still on your journey out of it, but you're further ahead than you used to be. How did you get out of it? Did you read books? Did you watch videos? Did you meditate? Did you walk your dogs? Did you listen to music? Like, how did you get out of it? How did you get out of it? And that is a recipe that you can teach other people. How you got out of it was not some random one-off situation. You can teach other people. So I struggled a lot with my business. I felt worthless as a human. I wanted to quit. I told my partner that I quit. How I got out of it was modeling success. I looked at Bill Gates, how he started Microsoft, and I applied those strategies to my business, and we started to see some success. 20 years later, what am I doing? Still modeling success. Right? I want to learn from Grant. I want to learn from Steve. I want to learn from Kanye. I want to learn from these people. It's why I keep creating this content. How I got out of it was studying success, and now I teach other people how to study success. Right? How you actually go about doing it may change. When I first started doing it 20 years ago, it was through books. Right? Now it's through videos. And in 10 years, 20 years, it's going to be through VR and a bunch of other technologies that I'm sure are coming. But the how you got out is a teachable recipe that you can give to other people. So if you're struggling with burnout and you think it's because you don't love the work that you're doing and you know that you're destined for something greater, that you do have Michael Jordan level talent at something, but you don't know what it is and you want to figure it out, figure it out. This is the process. This is the easiest process I know of to get there. Figure out your who, your one word most important core value. Figure out your why, your purpose comes from your pain, and figure out your how, which is your passion, how you got out of it. You can teach other people, and that will set you up for an amazing life with hopefully very little burnout and definitely a lot of purpose.
Rule number 4, don't have regrets.
You rarely regret the things that you do. It's what you don't do that you regret the most. It's all the missed opportunities, the times you wanted to say yes but were afraid, the moments that you wanted to bet on yourself but you were scared. Those moments, that's what you want to minimize, because it's way better to know and to fail than to never know at all. So I look at my tour as an example. I started 2019 with a tour across 23 cities, 90 days, and it was a big adventure in not regretting my life. It started off as supposed to be a free tour out of coffee shops, and my agent pushed me and said, "Evan, this is playing small." My agent, Steve in New York, said, "Evan, you're playing small. This is small. This is small time, man. Doing these little free things at coffee shops is small time compared to what you're capable of. You need to charge for the event. You need to book hotel rooms. You need to charge for the event. You need to get people to come out." And the thought just of doing that was already making me scared because I'm afraid of disappointing people. when it's free, there's no risk, right? I can't disappoint anybody, it's free. But when they're paying to come out, I need to make sure that I deliver. I also thought maybe, what if nobody shows up, right? What if one person shows up? That's gonna be a massive disappointment. And so I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it. But the thing that got me through was regret. I don't wanna look back. I don't wanna be 90 and look back and say, I should have done it. I was afraid to bet on myself. I would rather know and fail than not know. And so I did it. Took some convincing, took some time to digest it and eat it, but I said, I'm gonna do it, we'll do it. Then as I started on the tour, the first ones were scary, I was nervous, but then we developed a pattern, a rhythm. Every 4 days I was doing it and got it, and then it became easy. And so I needed to take another step. My next step was, I had an idea. I wanna do Q&A. My favorite part of doing workshops and meeting people is Q&A, because I don't wanna just get up and speak. I wanna help. I wanna give you practical, tactical advice that can help you in your current situation. I don't wanna just get up in front of a room and say the same thing that I would say every time. And so I was even a little slow in starting this because I had this idea for 2 or 3 cities that I want to start doing it. And I would slowly experiment. And then I was on an Instagram live and somebody in Sacramento, which was maybe 4 stops ahead of where I was, said, hey, do it in Sacramento. Bring it to Sacramento, be the first in Sacramento. And that one little piece of validation said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do it in Sacramento. But then it bothered me that I had to wait for validation to then go off and do it. And so I thought, you know what? I'm gonna do it in LA, which was my next stop. And so we had 100 people in LA in a hotel room. And I went pure Q&A. And it became the best. It was my favorite stop on the tour at that point. We had the best interaction, the most high fives, the biggest energy. Not everybody liked it. Some people came to LA as a second stop. They came somewhere else on the tour and then they came to LA and they said, I didn't like it as much. And others who came as a second stop said, this is the best format ever, right? You're not gonna please everybody all the time. But I loved it more. I had more energy, and then I brought it to the rest of my tour. But I still was slow. I was thinking about it 2-3 stops prior, and I didn't do it. I didn't have the courage to bet on myself. I was afraid that it wouldn't work out. And so every time I try to catch it a little bit sooner. Then it got easy doing Q&A, and then I broke my neck in Denver. With a month left on the tour, I broke my neck in Denver and had a concussion and compressed my spine and staples in my head and all this stuff, and thought, you know what, I'm gonna keep going. This is now my new chance, because if I don't keep going, I'm gonna regret it. Other people would let me off the hook. Everybody around me saying, go home. My agent thought I was crazy. Go home, take care of yourself. And everybody would have let me off the hook. But I couldn't let myself off the hook. I had to at least see. I'd rather know and fail than not know. I'd rather try to do the next stops. And if it didn't work out, if I couldn't speak because I had a concussion or I was in too much pain to keep going, then I would pull back, but I would know. And the next stop was in Kansas City, and my wife had to pull me off after an hour and a half because I was done. Like physically, mentally, I was done. She had to yank me out and say, guys, it's over. And then I got up for the next one and I did the full 3.5 hours and I kept going. And I was proud of my effort, and I look back like, yes, I'm proud, because if I stopped and I went home, I would have regretted it my whole life. And so this tour became this massive life-changing moment for me, in that first I was afraid to do it because I was afraid to charge, and then I was afraid to go and do pure Q&A, and then I was afraid to keep going because I injured myself and thought I wouldn't be able to provide value. And every chance along the way, stepping up and saying, I'm going to do it. And that's where you get the growth. Whatever the thing is in your life that you're afraid of potentially regretting, you have to go do that thing, otherwise you will regret it. So how do you do it? How do you stop living with regrets? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is take the rocking chair test. The rocking chair test is, imagine yourself at 90, 95, 100, however long you're gonna live. You're at the end of your life. You're in a rocking chair. It's over. It's done. You can barely remember things. You have dementia. Your body's frail. It's over. You're back, rocking away, sitting on the porch. Your life's about to be over. What are you gonna regret? What are you gonna regret that you didn't do? You didn't go do that tour. You didn't make that phone call. You didn't ask that person out. You didn't make that book deal happen. You didn't make that first video. You didn't do it. You stopped. You were afraid. Because when you're at the end of the life, it's all gonna seem trivial. The fears, like, what were you so afraid of? You're afraid of your mom's opinion? You're afraid of some hater on YouTube giving you a negative comment? You're afraid that the book doesn't sell? What are you so afraid of? When you're at the end of your life, those fears are gone. But the regret stays for decades. So what is that thing that you might regret not doing? And then use that pain to push you into action. Take the rocking chair test. Step number 2 is hangnail versus punch. And so when you have a hangnail, it hurts. I kind of have a little hangnail right here. It hurts. You know, if you pick at it, it hurts. It hurts. But then if somebody punches you in the arm, that should hurt. You don't feel this pain anymore because this hurts so much, right? If you've had that happen, you have a little pain and it bothers you, it's the end of the world, you got something stuck in your teeth, it bothers you, you can't get it out. But then if somebody punches you in the arm, you don't feel the thing in your tooth, you don't feel the hangnail anymore because this thing hurts even more. And so that's how I like to use regret. And you might think that's a little evil or masochistic, but it works. Because the thing that you're afraid of doing is real pain. I don't think you can be unafraid. I think if you're just saying be fearless, then you're only doing things that are in your comfort zone. It's easy to be fearless at things that you're good at, you know how to do. You can be fearless in brushing your teeth. You're not afraid of that because you've done it so many times. But the first time you tried to brush your teeth or the first time you tried to tie your shoes, you were a little afraid that it wouldn't work out, that you'd make a mistake, right? What's the process? Now it's easy for you. Being fearless means you're in your comfort zone forever. I think the fear is real. So how do you get through it? You give yourself a bigger fear, a bigger pain, which is decades of regret, and bring it back to today. That forces you to take action because the future pain is now bigger than the current pain. And third, understand that your fear is not a failure. People aren't afraid of failure. You're afraid of failing in front of other people. You will sing in the shower, but you won't sing on the street corner. Why? Because you're afraid of judgment. You're afraid of how people will see you. You're afraid of what they're gonna say, especially if you suck at the beginning of your journey, you don't know what you're doing. And so understand that the biggest reason why you're not taking action is you're afraid of what other people are gonna think and judge of what you're doing. And just that little bit of awareness, just recognizing that I'm not actually afraid of failing, I'm afraid of failing in front of who? Who is that person? Is it your parents? Is it your spouse? Is it your boyfriend, girlfriend? Is it your kids? Is it your best friends? Is it anonymous people on the internet? Like, who are you actually afraid of? And if you can step it back and say, I'm only afraid of doing this because of how my parents are gonna see me or how my spouse is gonna see me or some anonymous troll on the internet, that's what I'm really afraid of. It can ease the burden because you're sitting there thinking, I'm afraid of failing, but you're actually not. You're just afraid of failing in front of that person. And so imagine who that person is, and then imagine failing in whatever the worst case scenario is. It's not that bad. It can give you the strength, confidence, and courage to go and take action.
Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, I've designed a special free training to help you do it. The science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a new habit. And I want that for you. I want you to build the habit of self-belief. So what I'm going to do is email you every day for 254 days a link to an unlisted video that will shift your belief forward. To get on it for free, the link to join is in the description below.
Don't go to them asking for help first. Go to them with value first so that they're stumbling all over themselves to try to find a way to help you out too. Bring value first.
For me, my goal is to help the building entrepreneurs. And so I always want to work on projects that have the ability to have a massive impact. That's what I strive for every single day.
Find whatever the smallest first step is, and then the smallest next step is, and continue to build those steps. And when you look back, you'll have realized that you made some pretty significant progress.
Rule number 5, do difficult things.
Self-confidence comes from doing difficult things. From trying, failing, getting back up, and trying again a different way. Your goals don't count until they're hard. You won't make yourself proud unless it's hard. And it's time to start making yourself proud of your effort. So I'm in the process of writing a new book. And I sent the book out to 30 of my friends and friends of friends to get their feedback. And I'm on a crazy deadline with the publisher. I got it here. This is the copy. This is what I gave out to 30 different people. And they gave me all the books back on the same day. And then what I had to do was go through each copy and underline. I underlined, can you see? Kind of blurry. I underlined, anytime they underlined, I underlined. Because I wanted to see what they cared about, as well as catching typos and everything else. And I looked at that pile of books. I had 30 books I had to get through in one day. I had to basically read my own book 30 different times, make one master copy, underline it the whole day. And it stressed me out. I looked at that stack of books and said, how am I going to get through all this stuff? And then I just started taking action. I just started doing it. And here's the thing, halfway through, I started getting massive pain. My neck was really hurting me. My back was really hurting me. My neck mostly because I broke my neck in March and I'm still healing and recovering from it. And I had to spend the whole time like this, right? I got the books here on the table and I'm flipping through it and I'm doing this. And it takes a toll the whole day doing it like this. So a couple hours in, I'm having massive neck pain. It's the best, right? Like, I got to get through it. This is the time. It doesn't count until it's hard. I don't want to be doing this every single day, right? If that's every day, you need to change your life, you need to change your habits. But in those rare moments, when you get the chance to push yourself, either physically, mentally, or just courage because you're afraid of doing something, that's your chance. That's your chance to show yourself what you're made of. It was painful. And at the end of the day, I got through it. I got all 30 done. I had to get a massage and my wife stood on my back and I did a Epsom salt bath and tried to relax it, and it hurt for the next couple of days more than usual. But the biggest thing was I felt great about myself because it was difficult. You want to build self-confidence? It comes from doing difficult things. If I backed down as soon as it got hard, right? 2 hours in, I did 5 books. And my neck is hurting, I can't do this. And I back down. That's the message that keeps getting repeated in my head. That's the record that plays over and over and over again. That when things get difficult, I back down. When things gets hard, I back down. As soon as it gets tough, I don't follow through. I don't want to play that record. That's not how I want to talk to myself. I want to be proud of my effort to push through. And yes, there may be some time when you hit a physical max. And yes, I'm not saying every day to put massive stress on your body so that you freak out and have to go to the hospital. I'm not saying that, but I want you to be proud of your effort. And it's in those moments where life sometimes punches you in the face that you have an opportunity to say, I'm going to prove to myself that I am strong, that I am capable, that I can handle this, and I'm going to be proud of my effort. So how can you build more confidence? I'm going to give you a 3-step process you can follow. Step number 1 is tie your self-worth to the effort. People tie their self-worth to winning and to the results. It's one of the biggest diseases in the world. I think it is. I think it's what's destroying everybody's self-confidence. You tie your self-worth to the results. You tie your self-worth to winning. You only feel good about yourself when you're winning. Why? What's wrong with winning? I love winning. Nothing wrong with winning. The problem though, when you tie your self-worth to winning, is that you only take on small things. Because you're only going to take on things that you have a fairly high chance of winning at. Because you don't want to hate yourself. So you're not going to take on the massive, impossible, crazy things because you have a very low chance of winning at that thing. And so you play small for life. That's most people. They stay inside their comfort zone. They play small for life because they tie their self-worth to winning. Because as long as you're doing something you know how to do, you're likely going to win. Great, keep doing that. And then you actually hate your life because you're just photocopying the same day over and over and over again. The trick is to flip how you get your self-worth. You flip your self-worth so that you tie it to the effort that you're putting in. Are you proud of your effort? Even if you don't get results. Are you proud of the effort that you put in? Even if I couldn't finish the book, right? Even if I couldn't go through all 30 copies. Even if at some point my body just gave out on me and I couldn't go forward. Like, this is it. I got through 5 books and I'm done. Like, it's my physical max. I'd be proud of my effort. You might look at the results and say, you suck, you only did 5 out of 30. I'm saying I'm amazing because I tried my hardest. My hardest, I'm at my limit. I physically can't keep going, I'm done. That's how you get your self-worth. And if you tie your self-worth to the effort, you'll actually fail a lot more than you'll win. You'll fail a lot more than you'll win. But net, you're gonna win more than most people. Because now you're failing at bigger things and then you start winning at much bigger things. You need to learn to tie your self-worth to the effort and praise yourself every time you are proud of it. Number 2 is expect to suck at the beginning. Here's another reason why people don't start. Because they expect to be great. You expect your first video to be great. You expect your first book to be great. You expect the first time you do the next thing to be great. Why do you think you're gonna be great? It's the first time you're doing it. The first time you do anything, you need to expect to suck. It does not mean that you suck as a human. Again, it's where do you get your self-worth from? From winning? Then you feel that you suck as a human if you go out and you suck at the beginning. It's that you were willing to try, right? You're supposed to suck at the beginning. If you're trying anything worth doing, you're supposed to suck at the beginning. Your first video should suck. If your first video does not suck, you should have started 4 years ago. If you're great at the beginning, whatever you try to do, if you're amazing the first time out, I'm pissed at you because you should have done it 4 years ago. You were ready 4 years ago to start, and now you've wasted all this time. Expect to suck at the beginning. It's natural, it's okay, it's normal, it's part of the process. And if you expect to suck at the start, then it relieves the burden, it relieves the stress. Because now you can go out and fail. You're giving yourself permission to not be good at the start. But if every day you wake up and you're proud of your effort, I guarantee you, you're gonna get good. And step number 3 is ask yourself, what would the most bold version of you do? This is a question I asked somebody on my team when he was struggling to make a decision. I said, what would the most bold version of you do? It just came out. We're sitting in a coffee shop. Should I do this or do this? I'm like, I don't know. What would the most bold version of you do? And it triggered a light bulb for him. He's like, I love that. I would do this. And it just gave him the absolute clarity that he needed to go for it. And so ask yourself that question. You're struggling right now. You're trying to figure out which path to go down. What would the most bold version of you do? That is the right path. And your head is talking you down from doing it because your head only understands logic and the world that exists. Where your heart, your boldness can create something new. The decisions you make when you're feeling bold are the right ones for you. What would the most bold version of you do? Then go start doing it, expect to suck, and be proud of your effort.
Rule number 6, be honest.
People are afraid to tell the truth. You're afraid to tell the people around you the truth that could actually help them, that could serve them. You're afraid to tell them the truth because you're afraid that they're gonna judge you. You're afraid they're gonna reject you. You're afraid they're not gonna take it well. You're afraid they're gonna be sensitive. But you're actually doing everybody a disservice. And you're gonna walk away from the conversation feeling like, I could have helped them. I could have been more valuable to them. I could have saved them from making a really bad decision, a really big mistake, all because you were afraid to tell the truth. Whenever I'm meeting somebody, I go to an event, I just came back from an event in Dallas, Video Marketing World. Whenever I'm meeting somebody that I wanna learn from, I will start off saying, hey man, tell me why I suck. Tell me why I suck. If I'm looking at my YouTube thumbnails or my titles or me on camera or any part of something that I wanna improve and work on, tell me why I suck. Now why? Why do that? Well, it's not just because I'm a glutton for punishment, right? I don't want people just yelling and raging at me. It's because when you do that, when you lead with that, when you say, tell me why I suck, it gives the other person the permission to be honest with you. Because they have advice that can help you. They have advice that might be able to change your business or your life, but they're gonna hedge. They're gonna play it safe. They're not gonna tell you what you need to hear because they're afraid of offending you. They're afraid of hurting your feelings. And so you open up and you say, tell me that I suck and why. And then invariably what the answer is, well, you don't suck, but you know, you could do this, this, and that. And they'll tell you what you need to fix. Where otherwise, if you didn't lead with the tell me why I suck, they would hedge and they wouldn't tell you everything that's on their mind. They wouldn't tell you the thing that you need the most, which is their honest, brutal opinion on what you do. Now, it doesn't mean that you suck as a human. You're amazing as a human. It just means you don't have the skill set. You're not good at this one thing that this person is an expert at and can help you. And so the next time you're going to an event or you're talking to somebody who might be able to help you, lead with it. Lead with it. Say, I respect you. I love what you do. I'm trying to work on this. Tell me why I suck. And then watch the honesty come through. Okay, let's flip it now. Let's go to the other side. Now it's about you giving feedback to people instead of you asking for feedback on yourself, right? It's really hard. It's hard to give people feedback. It's hard to tell somebody that they suck at something and give them specific ideas on how they can get better. How I have approached it more and more and more is I need to show this person that I love them, that I care for them, that I think they're a genius, that you have Michael Jordan level talent at something, that I believe in them more than they believe in themselves in this moment. And in order to cross that chasm, you need to go and do this stuff. You need to do this, these 3 things. This is what you need to do to go from where you are now to out here. And nobody's willing to tell you the truth. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with entrepreneurs over the past couple years where they've come back and said, thank you so much. You're the only one telling me the truth. But it's a truth from a place of love. And that's the key thing. Because as soon as you tell truth, you're poking on this little vulnerability, right? You're poking on a wound. They don't want to hear it, right? People want to be told how great they are. They don't want to hear the weakness, the vulnerability, the truth. You're poking on it. They know secretly that it's true, but they don't want anybody poking. You're poking on it. But it has to be from a place of love, and they have to feel that love. And so here's what happens. And usually with somebody that I know, but somebody that I don't know at all, I'm not gonna go hard on them. But I'll tell them the truth. And then they'll get defensive. They'll get defensive and say, well, I don't know, they come up with some excuse, right? Constantly. And then they'll defend themselves and say, well, how good they are. And then I'll go to a higher level of good than what they think. So if you're attacking somebody's YouTube videos, right? Say, well, hey, to fix your YouTube videos, you gotta be more authentic. You gotta be more genuine. You gotta tell real stories on your channel. I'm not feeling emotional connection. They'll get defensive and say, well, listen, I've been growing my channel. I'm building up. I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can. I've got all these, whatever, excuses, delays, blah, 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 right? So I think you're a genius. I think you can be the best in your entire industry. And at this point, it confuses them because first they're hearing a criticism and now they're hearing this insane love. And now they're willing to listen. And then that pushes them to actually take action on the thing that needs to happen. And it takes a big emotional investment to make that happen. It takes a big commitment on your part and patience to stay with them and to go through the negativity, to go through the defensiveness and come out on the other side with love and optimism, positivity and heart. But that's how you actually make change in somebody. Because tiptoeing around the truth, dancing around it, having these little tiny piecemeal pieces that you're giving them that they're not hearing means that they are going to go and make a terrible mistake. And so, at least in my view, I think it's your responsibility to help them. It's your responsibility to tell them the truth and to hold their hand and to help them see and to help them get a better result because you believe in them more than they believe in themselves. And they need your wise counsel because nobody else is telling them the truth.
Rule number 7, showed up.
People don't show up for one of 3 reasons. Number 1 is you're afraid. You're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of failure, you're afraid of it not working out, and so you just don't show up. Number 2 is you're not consistent. You show up some days, but you don't show up other days because you don't have the routines and habits in place to make you show up consistently every single day. And number 3 is you don't want to. You don't want to show up because you don't actually enjoy the thing that you're about to do. You would rather procrastinate on it because you don't love it, and showing up is more painful than just sitting around. So my goal today with this video is to help you bust through these so that you can show up for life and have the impact that you want to have. So I think the fear of showing up is actually a good thing. It means that you are doing something different, something outside your comfort zone, something that is not normal, that is new, and that's good. You want to be pushing the envelope. If there was nothing that you were afraid to show up to today, tomorrow, next week, then you're not growing, you're not learning, you're not pushing against your boundaries and comfort zones. And so even today, I had to show up. And again, it should be every single day. So today, I was procrastinating on sending out an email to Grant, as well as a couple other people, where I'm looking at doing more collaborations, more work on my YouTube channel, more cross-pollination connection to other successful YouTubers to help the whole entrepreneur YouTube community grow, right? I want to get the message out there. I want to be playing a bigger game. And so I emailed Grant and I emailed 4 other people with a new idea that I had. So when the idea was first suggested to me about doing this and reaching out, I had a little bit of nerves, like, okay, it's gonna require an ask. I might get rejected, it may not work out. And I had it scheduled for today, because today was my YouTube day. And so I look at the list today, and like, maybe I should start with 1 person, or 2 people, or just pick the easy people. And just the fact that I felt that, just the fact that that was one of the reasons meant I had to go and do 5. I had to do a bigger number. I had to go after the harder people. I had to do the people that I thought may say yes, may say no, may make me look bad if they say no. And a lot of it is just head games. The honest truth is, Grant's probably not gonna care. Grant's probably gonna say yes. Like 98% chance he says yes, and he passes it on to somebody on his team. We start working together and we create the collaboration. 1% chance he ignores it, and 1% chance he says no. But it's not the logical, rational things that hold us back. It's the emotional, fearful things. And so what I've trained myself to do is anytime I feel that oh my God, it may not work out, then I have to do it. I have to do it. I have just to show myself, because the worst thing you can do is get to the edge of the cliff and say you're gonna jump and then not jump. It's better not to catch that you're nervous. It's better not to even come up with the idea, to just float around in ignorance. Ignorance is bliss, than to catch it and then play small. And so as soon as you catch it, I've trained myself, I want you to do the same thing. As soon as you catch it, train yourself to do it. Even if it doesn't work out, just training yourself that you don't back down when you are afraid. So I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that you can follow to help you conquer your fears, to help you show up consistently every day. Let's do it. Number one is tell yourself that you do scary things. One of the biggest reasons why people don't advance their ideas forward is because it's scary. It's scary. You're afraid. Amazing. That is now no longer an acceptable reason. You do scary things. You love scary things. You embrace scary things. You want to do scary things. This isn't just a mindset trick. It's actually true. You want to do scary things. You do. What's the opposite of scary things? The opposite of scary, if you walk through life and you're never scared of anything, it's not that you're super confident. No, it means that you're living inside your comfort zone. It means you're only doing things that have zero fear, that you have absolute certainty in because you've done it before. You're bored. You're living inside your bubble. And you need to break out because that means you're photocopying your life every single day. If there's nothing in your calendar that makes you scared, you hate your life. And so pay attention to the language. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself. Pay attention to when you feel afraid. And as long as it's not against your code of ethics or doing something stupid, don't go jump out of an airplane without a parachute because you're afraid, right? Most of the things you're afraid of are not life-threatening. Teach yourself that you do scary things, you love scary things, and you're not allowed to use that as an excuse anymore for not taking action. Number two is think what makes you soar. What is the thing that gets you feeling bold, alive, confident, ready to take action, wanting to show up to life? What is it? I go through 5 S's every morning as part of my morning routine. The first is sing, and then sun, and then soar, and then sweat, and then scare. The most important part is soar though. It's the thing that I do to make me come alive, that makes me want to soar. And so for me, what I do is I think about an entrepreneur that I helped yesterday, and then I pull up my phone, and then I record a message. And I share that to my YouTube stories, Instagram stories, Twitter, LinkedIn, I put it everywhere. I need to feel like the work that I do matters. Right now I'm just talking to a camera. I'm just talking into a camera right now, and later it's gonna be edited and it's gonna be thrown up on YouTube and lots of people are gonna watch the video. That's crazy. It's hard to imagine because I'm just sitting here in my office talking into a camera. And so I need to remember that the work I do has purpose, that this matters to some people, right? That people rely on my videos every day as a part of their routine. And that helps make me soar. So I wake up just like everybody else. I'm tired. I don't know what time it is. Sometimes, even this morning, I woke up. I didn't even know what day it was. Is it the weekend? Is it? I had no idea. Right? You wake up. I'm not coming out of the day saying, "Yeah, oh my gosh, let's go." Right? That's not how anybody wakes up. Nobody. That's not how Grant Cardone wakes up. Evan Carmichael, Tony Robbins. Nobody. That's not how we wake up. The difference is the habits that you set on a daily basis to demand that success, to demand that you show up. And so what is the thing that helps make you soar? Maybe it's remembering the impact you want to have. Maybe it's sharing a message to YouTube, to Instagram, to LinkedIn. Maybe it's doing an act of service. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's reading. Maybe it's watching these videos. What is it that makes you feel like you want to soar? And then don't randomly hope that it happens. Demand that it's part of your morning routine. Because if you woke up and did the thing to make you soar, to make you feel bold, confident, unstoppable, and you did that every day for the next year, your life will be dramatically different. You will not recognize the person who you used to be. The challenge is you're not consistent in soaring. And so I need you to make that part of your morning routine. And then number 3 is understand what is your Michael Jordan talent? What could you be the greatest in the world at? You could be the greatest of all time at something. You are. But what is that thing? Most people are living way below their potential because they settled. You settled too early. You settled because you were pressured. You settled because you were afraid. You settled because you ran out of time, or at least you felt you did. That's not an acceptable answer anymore. You could be the greatest in the world at something. And if you're procrastinating on something, it's either because you're afraid of the thing, in which case you need to go and do it because you do scary, you do afraid, right? Back to tip number 1. Or 2, you just don't like it. You procrastinate because you don't like it. And if you continue to do work that you don't like, you're never going to be the best because you're going up against people who love it, right? If you're going up to play basketball against Michael Jordan, you better love the game as much as he does or you're going to lose. If it's just a strategy for you, you're going to lose. And so look at the thing that's in front of you. Look at the thing that you are not showing up for. It's for one of those 3 reasons. Either you're afraid to do it and therefore you must do it. Or 2, you don't have consistent habits, in which case you need to put the thing that makes you soar into your morning routine. Or 3, you just don't actually want to do it. And stop forcing yourself to do it. Go off and find the thing that you have Michael Jordan level talent at.
Rule number 8, the last one before our very special bonus clip, focus.
The problem isn't that you're not a genius, that you're not talented, that you don't have wisdom and abilities and resourcefulness, and that you're not Michael Jordan. That's not the problem. The problem is you're not focused. You're not doing the things that you need to do. I just came back from Video Marketing World in Dallas, and I was being asked about where to spend your time, which social media sites to spend time on. And I think this is a classic example of where entrepreneurs fail. Is you're trying to do everything, and as a result, you suck everywhere and feel burnt out, tapped out, and not building momentum. If you get to the end of a week and you feel like you worked your face off, but you look back and what did I get done? If that's how you're ending a week, you worked hard and you feel like, what did I get done? You're not focused. You're switching between tasks too much. Instead of having all of these social media sites at the same time, pick one and crush it. I quoted Andrew Carnegie at my event, at my speech. My favorite quote from him is, put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket. Everybody's saying diversify, diversify, diversify. Have 18 different multiple streams of income. Look at the people who are a one-person show with 18 streams of income. They're making no money. You're making $10 a month from this and $25 a month from that and 18 cents from this. You're not making money. Now, as you build and scale and grow and you have a team like I do, I've got 24 people on my team, okay, great, now it might be time to diversify. But as a solo person, you can't do everything yourself. And you are a genius, you have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and that's what you need to find. And that's what you need to spend as much time as possible on until you're making money, you can invest back into your business and continue to grow. So let's look at social media. Great, pick one. Pick one, just pick one and crush it. Whether it's Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, whatever you think has the best combination of what you're good at. You know, so if you like making videos, YouTube's a great place to be. If you like writing, you can go on Twitter or Medium, right? Pick the one platform and then spend your time focused on that, because if I look at most of people's content, you look at your own content, look at what you're posting across these platforms. Are you proud of it? Would you follow you? Probably not for too many people. So stop wasting time posting mediocre garbage and post quality in one spot and start to win there. And then leverage it, and then build a team, and then expand. Same thing with products and services and business lines. You can't do a great job servicing your customers, investing back to research and development, coming up with new ideas. You can't. Not if you're doing 18 businesses at the same time. I had a woman come out to my workshop when I was doing a tour, and this was her issue. She was in real estate and she was in network marketing and she was in 5 different business lines. She said, well, I need to diversify. Diversify what? You don't have anything yet. You're diversifying yourself out of a life, out of an income, out of a business. Where if you just had one super strong pillar that then won, you'll win. Now, the argument for diversification is, well, if one thing crumbles, you got something else. Great, but here's what people are missing. If YouTube crumbles, I'll take my skill set and go somewhere else. If my business crumbles, I'm still me. I'll take my skill set and move somewhere else. Look at Jake Paul and Logan Paul. They were on Vine. They crushed it on Vine. Top people on Vine. Vine closes down, right? Almost overnight, closes down. Great, they have a skill set. They come to YouTube and blow up and get millions of subscribers. If YouTube goes away, for me, my skill set is applicable to wherever people are going to watch video content next. If your business goes away, the skill set you've learned will go somewhere else. You haven't lost, you haven't forgotten how to do your thing. Diversification is only important when you don't know what you're doing. That's why it's a great investment strategy, because you can't control the company. If Google starts tanking because they have some lawsuit, you have no control over that. So yes, you need to diversify. Right? If the US economy tanks, you should have a diversified portfolio, because you can't control that. But when you can control it, when it's your business, I'm in the line of Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest human on the planet when he was alive. And he said, put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket. Now I've got some special bonus clips that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We need to take some action. But when you watch a video, you get motivated and you create a specific plan of action, that number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of you following through. And when you publicly commit to other people, like leaving a comment down in this video, your number jumps to 95% chance of you actually following through on the plan you set for yourself. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Leave it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you. If you quit on something too soon that you still love, you will regret it for the rest of your life. If you don't love it anymore, quit. Move on. You will never win doing work that you hate. But if you love it, and you move on to something else, you will look back on this day and regret it for the rest of your life that you did not see it through. Most people spend their entire life living with regrets. Don't let that be you. The hardest decision I ever had to make in my life was being an entrepreneur. I struggled a lot with the decision, do I want to be an entrepreneur, and had this opportunity to make $300 a month and earn 30% of a company versus going to work at a job that I thought I wanted, a job that I'd been preparing myself for, that this is what I wanted to do. It was in my high school yearbook of this is where I was going to be. And here it was, earning six figures, traveling around the world, doing the investment banking that I thought I wanted to do versus making $300 a month and owning 30% of a company. And the thing that allowed me to push through and be an entrepreneur was me saying, I don't want to live with regret. That I would rather no one fail than not know. And I gave myself a year. I said, I'm going to give myself a year to do this. I could always go back and get another job. It may not be the same job. It probably wouldn't be the same job. It may not be as much pay. It may not be traveling as much as this job was offering me to travel. But this entrepreneurial thing, this opportunity that I had, I never knew if it would come back again. Like I thought maybe this will never happen to me again. And so I decided to go for it. And we struggled and it was hard, but I never ended up having to go back and get another job. And so if you're at an inflection point, if you're thinking about which path should I take, A or B, lean in with your heart. Stop using your head. Your head only understands the world that currently exists. Lean in with your heart and ask yourself, which decision will I regret more if I don't do? And then go take that action. I became an entrepreneur because I didn't want to regret not having at least tried. And a great moment in my life came a number of years later where one of the people I went to university with came back and said, Evan, I went down that path. I became the investment banker and I hate my life. How do I become an entrepreneur? And I looked in his eyes and I saw the desperation and the sadness and helped him, but also was so grateful that that wasn't me, because it could have been. So how do you live a life not filled with regrets? I'm going to give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1, ask yourself, do you still love it? If you are making something, if you're in the process of creating your business and it's not getting results, ask yourself, do you still love it? It's easy to keep going when you're making money and everything's working, right? When you're at the high, it's easy to keep going. But when it's not working out, for me, when I was making videos and it wasn't working out, it's hard to build a YouTube channel. In the early days, I kept going because I loved it. Ask yourself, this thing that you're doing every single day, this thing that you're worried about leaving and quitting and giving up on, do you still love the process of it? Not just getting some result, not just making $1 million, not just getting 1 million subscribers, whatever your outcome is, the process, the work. Do you actually love the work? If you do, then you have to keep going. Step number 2, ask yourself, how can you keep going? How can you keep going? How do you keep the momentum going? The biggest thing missing for most people is momentum. You're just not doing enough on a daily basis. You stop and start and stop and start and stop and start, and people give up and they quit too soon before you allow that momentum to grow and to carry you. So how can you keep that momentum going? How can you do something every single day to move your mission a little bit forward? Not taking giant steps, but just a little bit tiny step forward every single day. Even if that means you have to go back and get a job. Even if that means that, listen, maybe you're out of money right now. Maybe you took a bet on entrepreneurship and you tried it for 6 to 9 months and now your bank account is dry because you spent it all. Great. Maybe you have to go back and get another job. 1, make sure that that job is something that you're going to learn from, not just make an income from. But then 2, make sure that when you're coming home, you're still spending 30, 45, 60, 90, 120 minutes every day. Don't let the momentum stop on your idea. And step number 3 is ask yourself, what will you do to sustain that momentum? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you going? Whether you're having pictures on your wall like I have here, whether it's watching videos like this on my channel every day, listen to a podcast, morning routines, you need to inject that into yourself every day. When you don't see the light, when you're not seeing the results, when it feels like there is no momentum, you need to demand that boldness in you every day. So ask yourself, what is the thing that makes you feel alive, bold, confident, that makes you want to go out and create and build momentum even when you don't see any light around you? What is that thing that you need? And then bring that into your morning routine. Demand that from yourself on a daily basis. Instead of hoping that you wake up all motivated today to go out and do work, successful people demand excellence from themselves on a daily basis because they put something in their morning routine that reminds them of what their mission is and how important it is to move forward.
If you want to learn what's the #1 thing that keeping you poor, check out the video next to me. I think you can enjoy. Continue to believe. I will see you there.
You are where you are in life and business because of your standards. It's just not important enough for you yet to hit that next level. For you, for me,